about resume writing. I believe you all are familiar with the basic idea. You all must be having the basic idea about writing a resume. See, writing a resume is the very first step before you start the job. Okay, it's like once you complete your graduation, once you complete your post graduation, in some of the cases, once you complete your PhD, then you feel that you should apply for the job. So the very first thing is what you will do is you'll prepare a kind of a resume that will give you that resume will give the idea about you. The resume will showcase the information like your personal information, your educational information, your professional information as well if you have any work experience. Okay, so it is a kind of a formal document, okay, that will help you to find out a suitable job for you. So generally, writing a resume is very important when you actually think that you are ready for the job and you want to work. Okay. Then the first step is you'll prepare a well organized resume. You'll start applying that resume online. Okay, and then that way you may go further in the search of a job. That's why writing a resume is really an important part in the entire process of finding a job. Now here, um, as there is no chance because your resume will create a kind of an impression. Okay, let's say you are applying to 5 different companies and you have sent your resume. Now, what if your resume is not good enough? The company people will never approach you for the interview. Okay, if you have a well structured, well organized, and a good resume, okay, and if you send that to 5 different companies, let's say 3 companies will think of approaching you. So that is also a very great achievement for you at the initial stage. That's why whenever uh, whenever there is a chance to write a resume in your life, make sure you do it with a lot of efforts. Okay, your resume should be very particular. Okay, so hopefully today in this session we'll discuss how better we can write a resume. So as there is no second chance, there's only one chance, and that's why you should be able to write resume properly. Okay. Why do we need a resume? Why it is necessary to have resume? So as I told you, once you appear for the interview, the very first step is first you need to send the resume. Then only the management people will call you. Then only the HR will call you for the interview. Once you go through the interview, and if you go through the interview successfully, then only there is a chance that you might get a job. So the first step is you're supposed to prepare a resume. Second is you need to appear for the interview if in case they find your resume good enough, and if in case they are calling you or approaching you for the job purpose. Okay. If in case you clear the interview, there is a chance that you can get a job. Okay. That's why it is important to write a well organized, well structured resume. Okay. Another thing is it is a marketing tool. Now, see, Considering the time where we live in, as you know, there are a lot of job opportunities. It could be online, it could be offline. There are a lot of competition going on around us. So it is a kind of a marketing tool. Let's say there are 1,000 people who clear MSc microbiology in 2020 or in 2019. So uh, if you can have a good resume, you can actually showcase that you're quite different than others. Okay, appearing for interview is another aspect where you can prove yourself. That I will be discussing that when we are going to deal with Unit 2, that is exclusively for interview skills. Uh, in this session, we'll try to learn how better we can maintain a good resume so that we can create a good impression for the first time. Okay, because resume is the first link to get a job. If you cannot send a proper resume, you will never get a chance to appear for the interview, right? So it's like a marketing tool where if you have seen, there are so many organizations. They actually write resume for you. Okay, because so many people, they don't know how to write a good resume. So it's like it is a kind of a marketing tool as well. Okay, without resume, you cannot get a job. Fine. Third is requirement of many organizations. Considering the time period where we live in, generally all the organizations, they ask for resume. Whether you are applying for a small job or a big job in a big institute or in a small institute, it doesn't matter. Nowadays, all the organizations, they want your resume first. Okay. I hope this point is clear to all. Should I go further? Is this clear to all? Okay, fine, fine. Dhara Jadeja, you are following the session, right? I hope you are following. I hope you are able to understand. Janvi Ben, if in case you have doubt, you can ask me. Pooja, Poonam, you people are following, right? Tasvi, I hope things are clear. Good. Twinkle, okay. Okay, I'll go further then. So let's have a quick look at the elements of resume writing. What are the important elements? So whenever you need to write a resume, again, this is I'm telling you since the first lecture, right? Whenever it is about writing, remember organization is very important. See, you cannot write resume like let's say first you are writing educational information, and then you are writing your personal information, and then you are writing your work experience, and then you are adding something else. This way this is not going to work. As there is a format. See, whenever here what we are doing is we are discussing different situation where you need to write. Let's say in the earlier session I discussed about minutes of the meeting. So again, there was a kind of there was a kind of a format that you're supposed to follow. Okay. In email writing also, there should be a kind of organization that you should be following. Okay. Here also, in resume writing, it should be in an appropriate way. And it should go structure wise, step wise. You cannot start with step 3. Okay, you need to follow all the steps. So whenever it is about writing anything, organization is something that you need to maintain very well. If you cannot maintain that, then your writing is, the entire piece of writing is a failure. Okay. So make sure you follow the step, you maintain the document in a proper way. So let's discuss about the elements of writing a resume. So the first step is we'll start with the personal information. Now in personal information, what are the things you can include? Of course, your name, permanent address, and present address. The second point is applicable to some of you. Let's say your permanent address is somewhere else, but you are living somewhere else, then this is applicable to you. If your permanent address and the present address is the same, then there's no issue. Okay. Third point is you need to write down your email address, then your contact number. If you have an official website, uh, you can mention that. Here, I would like to add one more point. Okay, if you're maintaining a blog that is related to the your area of specialization, not the personal blog but the professional one, then you can include that here. It will create a very good impression. Birth date, if required, then only you should be able to write. Otherwise, there's no. It isn't mandatory to mention your birth date. Okay. Now this personal information will go on the top of the page. Don't worry, I'll show you the example so that you'll get a better idea. I hope this is clear. So in your personal information, you should be including this many things. Okay, fine. Bhumi Thakkar. Okay,
Yes,
Danisha.
ma'am.
Yeah, Danisha will include this many things in your personal information. Okay, Dhaval, you're following, right? Falaku. I hope you're able to understand. Good. Yeah, fine. Should I go further or do you want me to explain this once again? However, it's quite simple. You just need to note down the things that okay. And yes, I'll also upload the PPT so that you can access this PPT. Fine. If in case you're not making notes, don't worry. But ideally, it's a good habit. Okay, so you should be maintaining notes during the lecture. That's a good habit. Okay, I'm going further since there's no doubt from your side. Just a minute. So here is the example. Your name should be in the center. Fine. And then if you can just have a look at this. I hope you people are able to see the example clearly. So here there is this address, okay, and the opposite side contact number and mail ID. That's the top. Okay. So the very first step of writing a resume is you should start with your personal information where you're going to write down your name. You're going to left side you're going to write down the address, right side your contact number and email address. After email address, if you are following your professional blog, you can mention that. Or if you are having website, personal website, you can mention that. So far this is clear, right? Fine. Okay. Second step of writing a resume is uh, here we are going to talk about career slash professional objectives. Okay. Now, the second step is career means, of course, we are going to mention about the work experience. We are going to mention about we are going to mention about what exactly you are looking for in the job. Okay. Let's discuss all these points in detail so that we get a clear idea about this section of resume writing. So here you need to communicate the type of position you are interested in. So you should be know for what particular post you are applying. Okay, that you should mention here. Okay, this element is optional. It includes strong statements that relate our objectives. Now, see, writing about this section of your resume writing, I believe, is very important because here you are going to write about the post where you are interested in. You are going to write about the objectives. What are your objectives? What are your motto behind this? So here you can prove yourself that this is what I'm actually looking for. Whether you are capable enough or not, that the HR people or the management people will decide. But from your side, you are making a very clear point that this is the post you are actually interested in. These are your objectives behind applying for so and so post, and this is what you actually expect. Okay. So, writing this details is very important, and I believe you should write it very carefully. Okay. The career objective or goal should be connected directly to the job for which you are applying. So, here you should be able to you should be able to select an appropriate vocabulary. Okay, you should be able to structure the sentence clearly. Don't write this section having a lot of complicated words. No, it should be very to the point, it should be very clear, and the language should be very simple and formal. Okay, it should be very precise, it should be very formal, and it should be very simple. You should be writing this in a very simple language. See, writing a resume does not mean that you're trying to impress them. Writing a resume is something that is the very first step. It is going to open the door in for your career. Okay, so don't try to make it very fancy. Fancy things will not work here. Okay, so it should be very simple. And the third point is very important. Your career objective or the goal should be connected. It should go in the same line with the job objectives, with the job motto that you're going to apply for. Okay. There should be no disconnectivity in these two things. Okay. The applicant make the statement highly focused and related to the goal of the organization. So whatever the things you are going to write down here in terms of discussing your professional objectives, make sure that that goes well with the goal of the organization. Fine. You cannot write anything in this portion. So you need to think and then you need to write properly. Avoid pronouns like I, my. Ideally, you should be write it in a very general language, not in a personal way, but in a very general way. Okay. I believe this second step of resume writing is clear to all. If it is not, we can discuss about this more. I'll show you the example, but just want to confirm whether this is clear to all or not. Yes or no, just tell me. Hetze, this is clear to you. Janki, Hitarth, Nancy, Kinjal. Niyati, Pooja, Pinal, Rajeshwari. Is this clear? Okay, fine. Is there anyone who has any doubt in this? Okay, let's see the example for the better clarification. Just a minute. So this is the second step, followed by the first one in the first section. If you can see, there is a personal information, and in the second section, that is one objective. Now, this is just an example. It is not mandatory to write only one objective. If you have two to three, that's fine. You can mention it here. Now, here, there is a person called Susie whose objective is to obtain an entry level human resources position. So, here, uh, the person has only mentioned about the position that he or she is looking for in the job. But what I suggest is, of course, you can mention the position first, and you should be also mentioning something. If you look at the third point, the career objective or goal, what exactly your goal in this job, that if you can think about properly and put it in a sentence and write about it, then that would be your second objective. Okay, okay, so at least try to write two to three objectives. Ideally, that's enough. Okay. So here is the example. This way you should be able to write the second part of resume writing. That's objective. Now, if you see, this is very much clear. Whosoever whosoever is reading is able to read properly. So do not do not try to make any sort of design. It should be very neat and clean, and it should be very formal. So this structure you should be able to follow. Okay. You don't need to use different colors. You don't need to make it fancy. This way, this is not going to work. Okay, I'm going further now. I believe the first part and the second part of resume writing is clear to all of you. Yes or no? I'm so sorry, it got disconnected. Are you able to get my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Give me a minute. I'm sharing the file with you. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm waiting for the answer. Which one is not included in personal information? Name, address, contact numbers, and what is the answer? Tell me quickly. You have only 1 minute to answer the question.
Gender.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Bhumi Vekaria, what is your answer? Devanshu, what do you think? Kushbu, Kinjal, Nikhil, what do you think? Palak, Poonam, Rajvi, Sagar, Trusha, Twinkle, fine. Okay, okay, good. Almost all of you have answered correctly. Fine, let's go further. Okay, good. So Xander will not going to include in our personal information. The third step of writing a resume, that's educational qualification. Now, the very first step is your personal information. Second is career or professional objectives. Okay. The third section is educational qualification. So here, what are the things we are going to include? So we are going to include the name of the institution. Uh, there you need to include the city and the state, if not the part of the title. In some of, for example, Marwadi University, so in the title of the university, the city name is not included. But uh, the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. So here the name of the city is included. So there you need to only include the title of the state. That's Gujarat. So this way you're going to mention the name of the institute. Second point is name of your degree and major. Bachelor of so and so in so and so. That's a bachelor of arts in English literature, uh, bachelor of arts in Urdu, like that. Bachelor of science in business administration, accounting, like that. One example is that. Accordingly, you should be able to mention your degree and the major. Third point is, and the most important point is, list degrees in reverse chronological order. In your case, you all are you all are the part of post graduation program, so that would be the latest degree. Okay, so let's say after completing the post graduation, you are going to write a resume. The first thing you will be mentioning is uh, you have done masters. The second thing you will be mentioning is you have done bachelors. So we'll go chronologically but in reverse. Okay, I hope you got this. We'll go chronologically but in reverse. Is the third point clear? Okay, fine. Yes, I'll come to that. See, generally, when we deal with the resume writing, we don't need to mention about 10th or 12th standard. Ideally, we should mention about the bachelor's degree and the master's degree or PhD degree, MPhil PhD, if you have. Okay. Yeah. Let me show you the example so that you get an idea how you should be able to write the educational qualification. So here is an example. I hope you are following from step 1. See, this personal information is your step 1, and having this line is important. Okay. Then the second step is this professional objective. Okay. And the next is education. Just have a look at this for a minute. This way, you should be able to write the educational details. I hope this is clear to all of you. The person who has written this resume has mentioned about his graduation details. In your case, first you are going to write down your post graduation detail, and in the second following step you are going to talk about your graduation detail. That way you should be able to write. Okay, I'll upload this PPT, don't worry. Clear? Should I go further? You should be,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, you should be able to write the college name properly, including the city and state name. Okay. Then the bachelor's of science in business administration and the major date, it should be there in the mark sheet. You can copy paste, and your GPA or whatever is applicable to you. Okay. Let's come to the fourth part of the resume writing, that is work experience. Now, again, writing about the work experience is something that is very important. If you have any sort of work experience, you can mention it here. Okay. So, what are the things you can talk about here? You can talk about full and part-time job here. Let's say while opting for the post-graduation, you are also morning you are attending regular classes, and evening you are doing a job related to your field. Okay, then it could be your part-time job, and you can mention that. Okay. Next is self-employment. In your case, I think that is not possible because you're still studying. So that would be not applicable in your case. Fine. But let's say you have worked somewhere for 1 or 2 years, and you are applying somewhere else. In that case, you can mention the present jobs details in your work experience. Volunteer work. Volunteer work means this is applicable to you. Let's say you have done some volunteer work in terms of running an NGO, or to be a part of NGO, that is also volunteer work. To participate in MU Fest, that is also volunteer work. To do something voluntarily during your academic journey, we may consider that in the volunteer work. So if in case you have done that, you can mention that. Okay. The next point is practicum, field, and cooperative education. See, here this is also applicable to you. Okay. Um Practicum means a kind of a course of study designed especially for the preparation of teachers and clinicals that involves and supervised practical application of previously studied theory. So if you have attended a course that really train you in your field, you can discuss about that. You can discuss about any work experience related to your area of specialization, any sort of an experiment that you have implemented in your area of specialization. You can talk about that. You can talk about cooperative education, that is also applicable to you. Let's say apart from the regular learning, whatever you tried to learn, okay, from your side, that you can include here. Fine. But make sure you don't include so many things. If you find that the information is good enough to share and the information is relevant to share, then only you should be writing. Okay. I hope this so far this is clear. Yeah. Riddhi, you asked me questions. Yes, in first, yeah, I told you as I gave you the example. Let's say you have participated in MU Fest, then you can uh, you can mention that. Now, what are the information you can include? Job title, dates of employment, company name, city and state, important job activities and responsibilities. In your case, you're still studying, so I don't think so you'll be able to write down the work experience, but definitely you can talk about full or part-time job, not full but part-time job. If in some of the cases you can talk about volunteer work, and the third point where you can talk about a special course that you have attended, or any sort of cooperative education you have gained throughout this academic journey, you can mention that. Let's look at the example here. Okay, there are certain tips that you should be able to follow. Use bulletin points. Okay, start each line with an action verb. Make sure you talk about the skills and experiences to the position for which you are applying. Okay, let's say you're in your resume, you're writing something else, but in actual you are applying for a different kind of a job, then this is not going to work. There should be a great connectivity. Okay, be conscious while providing enough detail. Don't lie. Okay, whatever the skills you are having, only talk about that. If you have zero work experience, do not mention anything. What if they cross verify, and what if they ask for the work experience certificate? Then you will be not able to submit that, and you may end up losing a job. It should not happen. Be loyal, be honest. Whatever you know, you showcase that, you share that, and whatever you can do, you talk about that in your resume. Fine. The things that you have not done, or the things that is not appropriate for the job, you should not be mentioning that in your resume writing. Okay. So here is an example of the work experience. The first step, that's personal information, followed by objective, education, experience. Now here there are two sections of experience. One is relevant experience, that is absolutely related to the job where you are applying. Another one is other experience. In your case, you will be you will be able to talk about the other experience because I don't think so you have any job experience right now because you're still studying. Okay, just have a look at this for a minute. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I hope you got an idea how to write down this work experience. Fine. The time duration is something that you should mention following the state name. Okay. Following the city name and the state name. Is this clear to all so far? Fine. Do we have time to discuss further? No, we don't have time. One point is left in this resume writing, so maybe in the next lecture I will discuss about that. And I'll also discuss about how to write cover letter. So what is cover letter, why cover letter is important, and how we should write a cover letter. Uh, in the next session, we can discuss about that. So today, let me wind up this session in a few minutes. Today we discussed about resume writing. As you know, writing a resume is really important when you plan to start your career in a professional world. And so far we discussed four steps of writing a resume. The first one is your personal information. The second is objective, for what position you're looking for, what are your professional objective, what are your goals. Okay. The third step where you're going to write about the educational details, and the fourth where you're going to write about the work experience. Fifth is pending. I would love to discuss the fifth point in the next session, and we'll also discuss how to write a cover paper. So far, I believe this is clear to all of you. Once Uh, Most probably by next session, I'll be able to discuss about this resume writing and cover letter. So once we discuss the entire, once we complete the entire discussion of resume writing, all of you are going to write a resume and you're going to submit that in the Google Classroom. Okay, I'll give you enough time, so don't worry. And I've already marked your attendance, so now I'm going to leave the meeting. Before I leave, if in case you have any doubt regarding these 4 points, you can ask me right now. I'm here waiting for the queries. If you don't have query, that's fine. We can end the session. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day. Please take care of your health and don't go out unnecessarily. Take care. Okay, fine.